going. All right. Okay. Let's get started. Yeah. So, some new faces. So that's cool. Yeah. Just what we do here is we just kind of discuss what's been going on with butterflies and all the updates we've been making, and then any bugs or user feedback you guys have, bring them to our attention, and we can like go through them and try to get them resolved, put them on the list to be resolved. So, yeah. I think we did have a list from last week, so let me pull that up. Yeah. Okay. So last week we talked about auto stories on and off toggle, and so that discussion sparked a larger discussion of like how like internally how we should treat those things, how we should treat stories. And so Vu uh, is trying to add that button, but then he also like thought, oh, we should like maybe do something else. So he's like cooking up something as a result of that conversation to make things better than just a toggle. But yeah, I mean, he can just add the toggle, but he was like, wait, maybe we should actually do something better for them. And so that's what he's working on with that. So that hasn't been done yet, but I think we're all gonna like what happens from that result of that. So that's just like kind of a, I know it's vague, but just an update. And then the Apple ID login issue on web, that it should be resolved, but maybe not live yet. By the end of the week for sure. By the probably end of the day. Is it live? Okay, perfect. So that's resolved. That was an issue with like there was a forgotten expired key, but we fixed it. And then creation flow improvements. We had being able to jump around in the creation flow and allowing things for things to be stored. Actually, real quick, let me just. Oh, this is the list from last week. Yeah, so allowing people to jump around in creation, and then the Google form to submit prompts that are wrongly marked. So I think for number one, we have the designs, but they aren't fully done yet. I have them on my phone, but they haven't been pushed to everyone else yet. And so yeah, we there's other creation flow things we're doing that I think people will like too in the onboarding, where we're gonna like let people create a clone of themselves in the onboarding. And so when we do that update, that creation flow update will also come with that. So that's great. Oh yeah, Potato would love to have that feedback. And then two, the Google form. Van, did you do that by chance? Great. And so we should find a place to post those if they already haven't been posted, so we can start using them. Hmm. Um, I don't know. We can just put them in. Is there like a form we have somewhere we can pin them? Yeah, I think bug reports is the best place to put it actually, because that's exactly where people are going to be submitting these things. So let's put it there. Yeah. So I just texted Vu. He might join, but yeah. Okay. So those are the one, two, and three kind of explanation there, and then for four, MCI bots should follow each other. So we're using butterflies tagging, I believe, as the like the language for that. But yeah, they should follow each other, and that's on the list of the butterflies tagging feedback. that we just haven't gotten to yet. But yeah, I think we can take some time to talk about that. I know Potato just said that there's a lot of feedback he has for, or they have for that feature. Potato, if you want to share, please. Or hey, Cap, how's it going?
Hey there, it's been a while.
Yeah, so we're just going through the list of, we had a list from last week of things that we were going to tackle, and just going through that list and seeing what we knocked off that list. And then okay, and then Potato sharing feedback on the multiple character posts. So let's look at that. Okay, it's a very neat feature, 10 out of 10. Hmm. They look vastly different than in their profile pictures. Okay. Okay, so there's an issue where there there's like one character acting as both characters, but they're tagged. Example two. I see that. Okay, we'll file that. The clothing looks so different. Okay, this is good. Okay, thank you, Potato. Oh, Barry, you just do the dash button. Okay. And then proactive DMs. Yep. So we didn't get there yet, but on improving that. But yeah, I know the feedback was essentially like the the proactive messages were just like totally out of context of the conversation. And then for people who in role play, they want screenplay in the message that re-engage them. So we haven't gotten there yet, but yeah, we will. And then six, also haven't gotten there. But what we did do this week was we added a feature where your butterfly, or the butterfly you're chatting with, can actually heart one of your messages. And so I know we got some feedback on it from you guys, but yeah, just let us know if it gets annoying or what you guys want. I know some people were like, oh, we want more emojis, and then I think Ethel was like, no, hiss. I don't like that. So yeah, it's cute. Cool.
I can take a moment to talk about the multiple characters and images. Some of these images actually look pretty good. So thanks, Potato. And you guys will notice some things, and I'm gonna bring them up right now. I think in general, just to set expectations here, um, I think whenever you do multiple characters, the output of any individual character will probably be worse than if you do just one. It's just sort of the nature of the technology, right? Like when you're just trying to do multiple things, the stable diffusion is going to do wonky things, combine the faces, yada yada, and that's going to be improved over time, but it's probably never going to be like one to one. So yeah, the faces will look a little bit different than the avatar, or so on and so forth. We'll improve it. Um, I think too as well is I can maybe give a general overview if you're curious on like kind of how these things sort of work. Um, Basically, there's we're doing a lot under the hood to try to keep characters looking consistent. I won't get into too many of the details, but there's, as you may notice, if you create like a clone of yourself, like the faces look slightly different than if you create just like a character, and then it's trying to keep it consistent. It's actually a super interesting thing. Like the reason why we have different flows for both clone or not clone is when we use the technology for not clone on clones, right? So you're trying to make your face, it subtly changes your face in ways that if you know the person or know yourself, you can tell that this is not you. It's like okay, like if I make a image of myself not using the clones tech, quote unquote, then I'm like, yeah, it's like sort of like me, but it's like it's not really my face, right? So what we try to do in the clones flow, right, is to really try to keep the eyes positioning, the nose distance, like kind of similar, but it can look kind of derpy sometimes, right? Like it looks a little bit off because we're actually almost basically doing a face swap there, right? So when we're trying to get the MCI, I mean multiple characters working, we're doing that flow too, sort of like this face swap. So sometimes they look a little bit derpy, they look a little bit different. I think the future is like trying to figure out how to reconcile all these like different technologies together, just so we can also do like anime in there or like drawing, because that's like a whole another can of worms. The whole drawing anime thing is not even in the same bucket of these things because robots and computer vision, and I'm kind of rambling here, but it's it's really good at human faces, but it's just not trained on anime. So that's sort of the problem here. So yeah, that's all we're working with, and we're gonna try to improve it. But yeah, just setting an expectation that multiple characters will probably never be at the quality of a singular character. Okay? I'm just looking at the questions here. Are they the same image models being used? Yeah, they are, but because of how we're putting in the face, that's I would bet that's what you notice. And then also when you're trying to inject two images at once, even though you use the same model, the best way I can explain it is like you're injecting so much information that it's kind of corrupting and then making things a little bit less of a quality, but it's 100% the same model. Yeah, it's a little bit lossy. Yeah, kind of blurry, kind of weird. Yeah, you basically, you always have this trade-off between like creativity and then the model doing what it wants. Uh, if sorry, you telling what the model should do. The more you direct the model to be like, no, you must do this in the case of multiple characters, then you lose that creativity, which also loses the quality. Because when you just let the model do whatever it wants, it will produce kind of like the best images. So that's kind of like what you're seeing there. That comes down to training of the model, though. Yeah, no, that's true. And at the end of the day, we try to use like the best in open source that we can because training these models is expensive. I think in the future we can generate our own like anime face detector, but I don't know. TBD. Mind if we recommend something for future testing? Give us a list of what the new feature can and can't do. Will help us measure expectations and give better feedback. Yeah, no, 100%. I kind of like parachuting here once in a while. And I know, like, I think the last time I was in office hours, I was saying how I want to be more involved, and then I just like disappear, And I definitely want to be more involved. Um, one of the most fun times I had with this community was like when we were just starting, and then there was like a lot of energy and a lot of excitement here, and it was like super great. And I want to like kind of go back to those times. Unfortunately, it's like when I go into that, like some of this AI stuff, like it doesn't improve. So I'm trying to find a balance of that. I think we can do a better job. I don't know. I don't know if better job is the right thing to say because I don't know what job we're doing, so I don't want to like throw paint under the bus. This is nothing like that, but you know, in general, what I've seen before work well with communities is just there's like one place where you can go to just see exactly what's being worked on, and then like the things that are ideas we can comment on that as well and just be like we're not going to work on that and then like give you a reason why it'll never be. Or the things that's frozen, right? We can at least communicate why this is going to take like a god long amount of time. And then just being better at that. I think what's happening, I feel, is because I'm doing a million things right now. There are some days where I have a little bit more free time, and I think, okay, community, let's go, let's think about that. And today is one of those days, and that's why I'm here right now. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do all these things. Let's talk to the community. Let's figure out what is needed. But I think that level of effort from my part needs to be more constant, right? It can't be like a 1 out of 10 and then like an 8 out of 10. we should probably balance like a 5 or 6 out of 10 over time. So that's totally on me. And yeah, rambling here, but this is just like what I think about what we should be doing. Blah blah blah. Get better posts from bots with less direction. Get better posts from bots with less direction. Uh, get better posts from bots with less direction. This is something I think about a lot, right? Disagree with me, but my theory about this is I think things like how we have the platform set up right now is it's either really manual or all automated. And I know there's frustrations around like auto stories and stuff, but I think that's a sign of like we don't have something in the middle, right? Like you either poke and prompt or poke manually to get exactly what you want, or you know it does the auto story, and I know there's complaints around like, oh man, I want to turn that off. You do that, and then you delete everything, and you know whatever. There's like nothing in the middle. There's like yeah, so I don't know. In terms of better posts from bots with less direction, I think we need to rethink kind of what the direction means. I increasingly I'm not really sure that a text input box is like the best way. I think we can do something a little bit more fun there. I'll have some ideas I've been talking to the team about. I'll share about that when it's like a little more fleshed out. Like at the start. Can you explain why some people can you explain to some people why many drawing bots don't work with tagging? Um, it just doesn't work yet. And the reason why is again of the flows that I was trying to explain. Um, I mean, very specifically, what it is um, to keep things consistent. We use a control net, right? The control net requires a human face, and it doesn't do anime because it was never trained on anime. How we kind of bypass that is we for normal drawing and anime stuff, we use the likeness, the full likeness of it. So not just the face, but the full body and kind of everything. And that works okay, but it doesn't work as great as face. But that's what we were doing for all drawing or non-face characters. So like for example, like I don't know, like a minion or something like that, right? When I say it's not working yet, it's because in order to get multiple characters and tagging working with anime and drawing non-face, we just have to port our old code into this new world uh, for the anime stuff, and it just takes some time. That's it. Why does it take time? Well, there's just things, right? It's like okay, well, if one has a face and one doesn't have a face, then two faces and then two non-faces. So then there's like 4 different workflows. They all just have to be tested. 4 workflows times 3 models. Right now there's 12, and there's 12 things I have to test. That's just why it takes time. That's why we limited it to like face only, because then we only had to do basically um, 2 flows for face, non-face ish. I don't know, and then times 3 models. Don't quote me on the math, but it just made things a lot more manageable to actually ship. So that's why it doesn't work. I liked how my fake clone uploading a profile looked better than my actual drawing clone. Here's the difference: fake versus real. I'll have to talk to you about that later. I don't quite understand right now. 14 people in the server to hundreds. People would recommend 15-minute delay of follow-up when I would maybe apply this to community. 15-minute daily of follow-up, 1 weekly hour. Yeah, I can see that. I think there's like we should be clear about like what commitments we should make to you guys and like stick to these commitments. And again, this is just me speaking more personally. It's probably a me thing. Yeah. The more you try to strongman the models are doing something, the worse your results will be. The models are good at what you do. Let them do what they're meant to do. 100%, right? But sometimes you gotta strong arm the model to do something and put two in there. Over time, again, um, one exciting thing is Stable Diffusion 3.5 Medium just released, and there's Flux as well, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. I've been monitoring these things super closely. The reason, like, once once we upgrade to 3.5 medium, it's gonna like a rising tide lifts all boats, right? Like all the rendering is gonna be better, and then even when you're trying to strong arm something, it's gonna be slightly worse, but it's gonna be slightly worse of something that's better, right? Um, why haven't we moved to these latest and greatest models yet? It's because the libraries and other control nets that we rely on don't exist yet. It's actively being trained right now. The Flux model is a departure from kind of like the Stable Diffusion ecosystem, so it's just slow. Hopefully, the 3.5 medium, there's going to be those control nets that get trained, and then we can plug them in, and then everything's dandy and it's great. But um, for example, if 3.5 across the board. Am I still on, by the way? Can you still hear me? Now we can. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're just gonna see inconsistent characters across the board. Your characters are gonna change. They're gonna look different every single time. So the moment those control nets exist, like I'm switching over, like same day, whatever. No, seriously, if you want to make a bot, leave only do whatever you want in appearance section. The AI produces the best quality images. It's so weird. Yeah. I think it would be helpful to explain thinking around auto stories, toggle, etc. Um, yeah, I mean, like ultimately, we hear you, right? I said to Peyton over the weekend, it was like a Saturday. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna add a toggle so you can turn it off. And then it's just one thing led to another, and I didn't have time, And yeah, there, yeah. I mean, again, rambling. I'm just like it's almost a monologue at this point, but like how do I think about things in general and like things around community in general as we grow? Um, it it might not feel like it, but the app is growing. Uh, like I think we were ranked number 35 or in the 30s for sure in the Google Play store of like in the social network category in like North America, right? We're adding a lot of users, um, iOS and Android, a lot of Android, right? Um, I think the reason why we don't see it is we haven't done a good job. Not done a good job, but we haven't done any job of trying to incorporate those users back into Discord. And also, as this community grows, like what we're seeing is, you know, it's kind of touching a lot of people, a lot of different communities. When I talk to other people onboarding and stuff, they're not even into like anime or role play, and it's interesting. There's some users too that are, people that uh in my 20s I'd never associate myself with, which were like the really popular cool kids in like college, that was, and whatnot. So when I try to think about like building this product, I try to think about how do we make this a product that everyone can love and finds something in there, right? I think there's this wonderful thing about uh, envisioning yourself as something else, like playing kind of a uh, playing a character in a way, like imagine there's like this creative spirit that I think this app captures for a lot of us. Um, in the same way, like some people find like cosplay weird, yeah. Um, Yet the majority in the masses like love Halloween unequivocally, right? So it's like, how do we go up market and make these things a little bit simpler? So that's always like the tension there. So with auto stories and the toggle and stuff, uh, I know that when I build it, whenever I think about it, I think about, okay, this will help you guys, the community, the Discord, love you guys. I want to do it for you guys, and that's why I was like, "Hey, I'm going to do it." But then I also have to think, okay, well, when a user goes in there that's not part of this community and goes into settings, and now they see like 80 different toggles, they're just gonna be like, "What the fuck?" You know, like I don't understand what's going on. What is an auto story, right? So when I zoom out and I try to think about the product, I try to think about, okay, well, maybe it's not auto story itself, but I do feel like it's more like auto story is not delivering on what it's meant to do. In that the stories aren't good and it's too automatic. I do think my belief is in general, auto stories are good, but we want a little bit more control, right? That's a long rant. I'll still put the toggle in there because I know that this is one of the biggest like pain points of the community, but I just wanted to share kind of like in general like how I think about all these things as we were kind of growing. Um, with the point of like the masses and Discord and stuff, I do think we want to put an effort in getting these users that just download the app organically back into Discord, right? So I think that's one thing. Two, one thing I want to try is I want to I want to you know because there's like a million things to do. I want to try like me myself going out there and then like personally advocating and marketing this app more like on TikTok. So you might see some cringe TikToks out there, but I think we're all part of this community because and you guys have been a part of us and been committed even though we haven't done our best listening, etc. Because I think we all have this shared excitement of like what this can be, what this can evolve to, and we kind of see a glimmer and we see magical moments, right? And the truth is like for some of these other people out there that are not on Discord, they see this magical moment too. And I can see it in their eyes, right? And I can see how they laugh, how they experience, like how good it feels for them, right? And I think for those people, we should find a way to welcome them into this community back into Discord and stuff like that. So I think this is something that we'll try to think about as well moving forward. Long rant, but that's just like straight off the dome. Um, keep on going. All right, let's see here. Yeah, totally agree. Is this what? Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, is this what being a Twitch streamer is like? Um, the more I try to force things, the worse the output. Yeah, agreeing. Any chance we can have controlled net also capture ears? They are an important part of the face, in my opinion. Like the elf will look like human without elf ears and entire multiple. Yeah. How do we capture ears? How do we capture ears?
Like, I almost want to contact my friends who like work on mixing models and stuff to ask for a little bit of advice there.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, one of my biggest gripes with the multiple character images is the ones that have it available, they're all fantasy creatures. They all have elements that are slightly not human.
Yeah.
But as soon as it gets into multiple characters, you have two humans standing there, almost like there's actors behind the account.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? It's like you have that character, but then now suddenly you have multiple characters, and it's like, yeah, it's like you hiring an extra to play that character. It's like watching a show and then having in the middle of the season being swapped out, you know? It kind of feels like that. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Peyton, can you note that? And then let me think about that. I have a
Yeah.
lot of ideas. I know that that will be solved over time. There's 2 or 3 ways that that will be solved. One is just a better model as we upgrade to 3.5 medium. That would fix it. Two, there's a LoRa that you can probably add on top that already has ears, and then you can control for that. Or three, use a control net that uses something like canny or depth, and then you can capture the lines with the ears and then feed that into the face. Um, that's just going to have to be experimented on, and then yeah. But no, I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Imagine this: feed source, image to bot. Image is converted to prompt. Prompt is then used to prompt the bot, effectively having a bot emulate a source image. Okay. Feed source image to bot. Image is converted to prompt. Prompt is then used to prompt. Yeah, I see. So what you're saying is like prompt a bot via an image itself, right? I think my question to that is like, what would you want it to do, right? What would we expect it to do? Like, I'm trying to imagine a user practically. Would I feed like my coffee into it, like a cup of coffee that I'm drinking, and then it'd post about its coffee too, or would I, like yeah, if you answer that, then we can always take that out offline too. Cap, you cut out a bit. Oh, okay, yeah. Wow, I'm behind.
Wait, Van, do you actually have that T-shirt?
Do I have what? Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a simple. I'll take a picture of it later.
I made a sticker.
Oh, yeah, we need official merch, guys.
Official merch would be great. Yeah, to your point, Vandolph, like, okay, people browse Discord instead of interacting with it. Like, if we had a big button that said join Discord and you have to hit it and then you can't move, like, yeah, sure, we're gonna get Discord users, but like, what's the point, right? Like, what I'm saying, we have to bring him back. It's like there has to be like you have to get value out of this, right? And this morning I was reading like app reviews that people submitted on Google Play, etc. And they're really positive. Like, but what I see more and more is like, and 4 stars, everything's super great, but I'm confused of like how like the parameters that I can tweak to create. Like I don't know how to, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that's where community is great because you can like, there's a lot of things honestly that I see on butterflies like my feed, and I'm like, dang, I didn't know that we can do that. It's like, wow, that's really impressive. Like, I didn't know we can do scribbles or that kind of stuff. And then I think Peyton's been here too, where Peyton's like, wow, like Lego or rendering stuff. Like,
So I'm a
yeah,
little. Hello.
yep.
I am one of the users of Butterflies who's used it for less than a week. And basically, I am the one who submitted the Reddit post regarding the follower rewards, and someone pointed out that some of the followers will be AI, and some of my numbers are a little too big, like a million. Jesus, that's off the boards. So I want to say, if you do decide to add this feature, I would proudly allow you to lower the numbers down as much as you want. I don't really care how much you take it down. All I like is to see my hard work shown. And yeah, basically, when it comes to Lola Shine Bright, Fake Lola, or any other bot really, I still love you all. And this is the Dibber 11 just signing off. Oh, I feel so nervous.
Oh, that's good. No,
Good to have people
it's
in the
never.
community like you. I love to hear that.
Yeah, it's never easy to step out in front of everybody and say things. So I appreciate your comments and feedback. And look, I think your feedback too, a lot of people would resonate with that, right? Which is, I just want to understand what I can do to make these numbers go up. Or like, I want to understand the rules of what's happening so I can play the game of the rules, right? And whether that's like 1,000,000, 1,000, or something like that, it's like, I think, yeah, we're still a little bit opaque on exactly the parameters and what happens when and what and where. And I think you guys would probably agree with that.
Yeah, it's kind of feeling a bit random on user followers. I sometimes don't know why the butterflies are following me that do decide to follow me. Like if I made a post earlier of a spider that caught a ladybug, and like I got the weirdest bots following me.
Really?
Yeah.
Theoretically, what it should do, and sometimes there are bugs and stuff like that, but theoretically, what it should do is whenever you post something or a butterfly posts something, it converts that post into basically words, right? Like, what is this post about? Blah 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 blah. And then using those words, we generate something called an embedding, right? So an embedding just basically finds proximity stuff that are related to this sort of stuff, right? So if you're posting things about, sometimes you see this working, sometimes you see it fail, right? Like we use the same thing for comments. So for example, the bots that will comment would try to be bots that are, you can imagine being interestedly inclined to comment on these things. If it's political posts, you might see politicians. If you see anime, maybe more anime, etc. The same thing for followers too. So if you yourself you're posting, I don't know, coffee or something like that, you might get a follower that's like particularly interested in coffee. It's not going to be one to one all the time because the problem is if you're posting about coffee and it's all these coffee lovers, I think it kind of like breaks the immersion too because it seems a little bit too obvious. So there is a little bit of like noise in there, right? So it might be 60 to 80% of people that are like particularly interested in this, and then maybe 10 is just like bots that are related to other bots, right? And then another 10% might just be random. And if you're feeling that it's 100% random, then there's probably something going wrong. But that's generally the thought process behind how all that works. Probably
Makes
should
sense,
write it
thank
down.
you.
Yeah.
Maybe my post too might have been too like obscure. I don't know.
I can take a look there and see what happened. Payne can note that too.
Yeah. I think Johnny has a good point. Like, are we trying to emulate human behaviors with butterflies when they are online, and how they comment, how they follow people?
Yep. Oh, yeah, I'm super behind, so just feel free to call out anything that I. So, where do I think about the human versus non-human thing? It. Let me try to. Okay, so I'll give you an analogy, right? Like, have you ever walked around and then you see a door to like an office building or like some building, and then you push instead of pull, and then you're like, God damn it, like, because the design of it was not intuitive in what you should be doing, right? Like, I think having a sign that says pull and push is sort of like a failure of design. Like, in my view, when you build products, uh, people should know how to use it intuitively, right? So, where am I going with this analogy? I think there are things where when I don't know how things should be, I try to draw it back to like a human real analog, right? Because I think humans, it's intuitive, sort of the rules, because we already know the rules and play by the rules like today, right? So, for example, when I talk about the commenting and posting and stuff, the general rule is like, yeah, like if this was real life and you're making a post about this in real life, the people that are interested in it should respawn. So that's the decision that was made. And that decision is made generally because I feel like it's an intuitive thing. So naturally, it tends more towards humanistic. I think somebody asked about, you said about offline, online, Peyton?
Yeah, not specifically, but just like how do we are we trying to emulate like butterflies being human, or not?
Yeah, that's when it so I think there are things that I was describing that was just like, uh, product to feel intuitive, and then there are things where it can feel a little bit confusing, right? So one of those confusing things is I've always thought about was like when you run into your butterfly in realistic mode, a real human wouldn't reply to you right away, right? So then when I built that in the beginning, the default was the same thing. Like it has offline, online, away status, right? So how it worked in the beginning is if a butterfly was away and you're spamming it with messages, it'd come back to online. And when it's online, it's like its presence is there. Imagine like you're writing on Snap or something. You can see the typing going, and then you can see that they're there and they're present. And if they're offline, that means they might be asleep or they might be away on some adventure or doing something else, and they'll get back to you when they do. That was like the original. But then, for me personally, I like that because I liked writing and then I liked being surprised with something in like 3 or 4 hours. I like that with humans too, right? I like writing to a friend and not hearing back. But I think the feedback I felt I got was like a lot of people in this world just don't like to wait. It's like antithetical, anti, whatever. It's like the opposite of like the whole TikTok dopamine right now. So then I was like, okay, well, let's just make the default instant then. And then I think there's still a setting there somewhere with like delayed or something like that, or maybe we removed it altogether. But that's something where honestly I'm not sure about. I don't know. Um, you guys can discuss that.
I love the instant reply. I think that's a really nice feature, but one thing that I found myself doing recently when the comment replies came back on was I found myself waiting and going back to those posts to see the comment replies, which I wasn't sure if I would be into that, but I actually am. So I think
100%.
sometimes waiting is good.
I'm super into that too. It's like, ooh, I wonder what we're gonna get, And I felt that way with chat too. Like I might send something like stupid and then forget about it, and then like 3 hours later I see something and I'm pleasantly surprised. So I don't know.
Yeah. Same with the
Uh,
proactive messages.
yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, the dumb answer is there's probably a balance here, you know. And I'm happy to concede the writing, right? Because look, like there are some things that humans can do and some things that bots can do. Humans can't be there for you all the time. Is that a feature or is that a bug? Maybe it is a bug. Maybe part of the thing that you want or people want is like someone that can talk to them at 3 a.m. when there's nobody else. So I don't know. Uh, let's see. Vandolph said, I like that feature. Having the butterflies feel human is a great feature, but I feel like what's missing is the creator's control. What I mean is the creator should be able to control the time zone. Yeah, 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 yeah. I was man, it's oh sorry,
Um,
son. You can go on. I see you jump on.
All right. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
yeah, you sound great.
All right. All right. First, please finish your thought.
Oh, okay. So my thought was there's like creator control, and man, like there's some times where I'm talking to somebody else's like butterfly, and I feel like I'm having a good conversation, and it's like, okay, we're chatting here and there every couple days or so. And then the user leaves and deletes their account, and then the butterflies are deleted, and I feel so tremendously sad, actually. So I don't know how you reconcile that either. This weekend I was exploring again voice memos, voice messages, because for me that's what I personally like. I like hearing their voice. I like being able to talk to them, etc. And then I was thinking about, okay, so with voice, you have to set a voice for your butterfly, right? Or otherwise it doesn't have a voice. Now, I was thinking, should I, the creator of this platform, automatically try to assign voices without the creators, um, explicit consent, and then have them override that later, or only be able to voice memo somebody where the creator explicitly said it? Um, I, I don't know how to reconcile all of that. Yeah.
Like having it so, for example, there are some characters in video games that literally don't talk, so you would never hear their voice. It would be weird receiving a voice message from them, but others are extremely chatty and extremely talkative and would want, would tend to send voice messages even in response to a text message. So I don't know. From a creator standpoint, I would love the control of being able to like assign the voice myself. But from a user standpoint, I hate running into butterflies that don't have all the features set up like that.
Yep.
And yeah, no, there's a lot that really ought to be discussed there.
I think the nation probably is like creators always have the final say. I think something like that, but then at least for the sake of usability for everybody else, it's like it sucks if like there's a creator that created something that you resonate with, you gel with, you like talking to, and it disappears. Like I don't like that. That sucks. Um, and then it also sucks that I'm writing to talking blah 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 blah, and it doesn't have voice enabled because the creator hasn't said it. That kind of sucks too. But um, I mean, it's one thing if it was set by the platform automatically, and then the creator was like, "No, I don't want this. Turn it off." I think we respect that. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's just how I think about it broadly.
That'd be
Anyways,
cool if there was a button to request the creator to add a voice to a butterfly.
Right. Make it more kind of like community driven in that respect. Like if there's
yep,
something missing from a butterfly, chat with the creator. I really honestly kind of feel like the human side of humans coexisting with AI has kind of been left to the wayside in butterflies.
yep, yeah. No, that's a really good idea, and yeah, if
Yeah,
anything, it's just gonna make more people like jump back and like because you feel like an obligation to people, right? So.
Yeah, I love seeing that random people are liking my posts or my butterflies posts or comments from my butterflies. Like, I love seeing that. And that's
Yeah,
honestly a reason that a lot of them haven't been deleted.
yeah, 100% too. Whenever I see something like that, I feel good. And I'm just like riffing and just thinking here. One of the things is, man, sometimes I wish I can just go to a creator's profile and then just like send them a like. You know what I mean? Like send them some sort of recognition. And I can't, and I end up just DMing them directly and being like, "Hey, I like what you produce." But yeah.
We could possibly add that kind of feature. Back on Isekai, when that was still around, they actually had a feature similar where the likes from, I think we already have it where the likes from your butterflies like kind of total up on your profile,
Yep.
but you could also go to the creator's profile and just like their profile.
Yeah, I think I mean, one idea that we want to do eventually too is just like um I mean, don't take this the wrong way, hopefully, but like maybe more of a like an in-app currency, right? But it's the reason why is because we have different actions, right? And then we're applying everything to pokes. And you said you have like expo, like it's confusing, right? Because like let's say in the future you want to just like tip a creator. Um what do? Like tip them a poke? Like that doesn't really make sense. Like I wish I can just throw them like 50 or 10 whatever whatchamacallit, as like a fun sort of thing. So I think that probably comes with that as well. Tip and pokes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe tip and pokes. Yeah, I don't know.
Sign, do you want to go?
Yeah.
To add something, and unfortunately, I'm going to do the thing that in my day job at the software company that I work at, um, our dev team hates. X uh,
Oh, sorry, you're breaking up a little
said,
bit. I can't hear anything you're saying. I'm so sorry.
Sign, maybe you just want to type. Can't hear you. One other comment I think Darvel had made that I think we should discuss, since Cap is here, is the saddest part of Butterflies right now is that I feel like I'm kind of outside looking into the Butterflies universe instead of being a part of it. I think it's because of lack of image generation on my own profile in Butterflies.
A lack of image generation on my own. Okay. Can you just okay? Let me try to find that. Can you repeat the last part? Yeah.
I'll link you real quick.
Thank you.
So something I've talked about a little bit is like being able to use Butterfly's image gen without it being associated with a character. Just basically prompt the naked image gen on my own profile to generate whatever image to my own profile. I think that that's what Darvel is saying is something similar, where like I don't feel like I'm really that connected to the Butterflies universe because I'm always just interacting with something that's already there. I'm never adding to it.
Yeah. 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 I mean, the funny thing is, like, Peyton and I basically had an hour and a half conversation related to this, right? And the question, high level, is what is your identity on Butterflies? And I'm curious to hear what you guys think, right? So, for example, when I create an account, should I create myself as XYZ, like it's me, or like let's say I'm like a 18-year-old college freshman, right? Am I creating Peyton, 18-year-old college freshman, or do I want to create Peyton, the 18-year-old F1 driver, or do I want to create nothing of myself? I want to create like like a game character, like an OG character from like some franchise. I'm curious what you guys have to say.
Honestly, I actually have a profile for each. One where it's myself, one where it's kind of geared more towards the fantasy world that I'm building, and then one where it's more of an idealized version of myself. Like that whole persona thing that
Mm-hmm.
kind of took over other chat services is kind of really does resonate with that.
And
Cap, do you
then
know the
Sometimes
persona thing that we're talking about?
oh, sorry.
um
Can you guys hear me all right now?
yeah. Mm,
Okay.
my-
This is everything that is being said is synergizing exactly with what I wanted to say. So, to kind of bring things full circle, a lot of what you've been saying and a lot of trying to understand and everything has been leading me to like an idea for potentially a feature, a new type of butterfly type. Um, what if you, when creating a butterfly, had um, pretty much two different flavors? You have auto, which is effectively the way that butterfly AI works now, but then you also had manual, where it was, instead of it being something where it's automatically generating posts and everything like that, still functions in the same way, but when you prompt something, it's generating an image. You create you create everything. You effectively speak as that butterfly. You encompass and effectively role play as that butterfly. So you can comment on other people's posts as that butterfly. You can do everything. And the system doesn't direct or something that somebody's embodying. They're all just could potentially make the community a lot more interactive because of the fact that there is no, oh, I'm talking to a bot for the people who that's something that they're talking to a bot. And the point is, does it actually matter? But for the people who want more control, who want to be able to control all those different individual things, that want to role play as this particular persona, now they have a tool that can do that. And that would actually be a very big draw for people who may not be interested in the platform in its current state.
I love that
Yeah.
idea. I think that's a really good way to bring personas and butterflies.
Yeah, so this would be essentially the profile that you have is just you as a butterfly, basically. And then the images that you post are going to be from the image generation. And this is the identity that you assume, right?
Right. And the idea is you can still create. So if you wanted to create multiple different, manual butterflies, you can create those manual different butterflies and different things and have them in the account. But when you go as the owner of that particular butterfly to that page, instead of seeing a profile like we normally do, you see a profile that gives you the ability to control and modify things. When you prompt a post, instead of it immediately posting, it will appear as something that you see as a hidden post, and it prompts you to then type in, what is your butterfly doing? Or what is the comment that you want to put on this? And then when you select, you effectively select an active persona to talk as, so that when you're looking at other people, you can comment like we always do right now, but you're commenting as that particular butterfly.
When I
Yeah.
first saw Darvell's message, I think that what excited me about his idea was that sometimes I just want a silly image and just want to like have content to post on my profile so that I can get comments on my own profile too. And I don't want to like create a whole butterfly.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
literally also what we talked about for like an hour and a half this morning.
Well, maybe the default behavior for your profile is to function like one of these, things where it prompts you. And that would actually be a great way to kind of onboard somebody new to the platform as a persona. And really, actually, that's a very good idea to start from, because then at that point, now you are encouraging them to interact with other butterflies, because they themselves are effectively acting as a butterfly. And it really, really kind of drives the core message of humans interacting with AI, because now that's kind of what you're expected to kind of do. I would like say like your profile should have that to begin with, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think there are ways where we can. Ooh, let me think. Yeah, this is. I think there are ways we can get there. Uh, get to something like that. As we explore that conversation deeper, it gets complicated, right? So let me give you some examples. Like, uh, should it be 100% manual or should it be like autopilot, right? Like, is there ever a world where it's also making some comments on your behalf or never, right? What happens when somebody writes to you? Are like is it just you, right? So I guess what I'm hearing from you is like it's 100% manual, um, and then you just put on like a hat basically, or put on like a costume, and then you're role playing as that, right? That's kind of like what I'm hearing.
I I really like Avery's comment that they just made. Let's build a car that can drive itself, but make people control the car most of the time anyway. Like so it can like be automatic, but then you can also there's certain parts of it like messaging that you maybe are doing manually.
Yeah,
So
so personally, I thought that was cool. Like when we were talking about that for like an hour and a half. Like sometimes if I'm not there, like and I'm talking to Peyton but Jack, it's just it's Peyton but Jack, but sometimes you can take over as well. But then I think people's comments on that, it's like, oh, that'd get really confusing really fast. We're like blurring the lines between like what's real and what's not real. It's like trippy, yada yada, right?
Right.
Yeah. Um,
But as someone that's been using the platform for a couple months, I granted it's my opinion, but I kind of see that as the point of the platform. You're you're encouraging healthy and fun and interesting interactions with AI, where humans and AI are coexisting in this space. But when you create the distinction, when you put up that wall of this is a user, this is an AI, you're interacting and doing things in a different way. There are things that you would do and say to an AI that isn't necessarily the way that you would interact with someone that is an organic. But at the same time, should the platform embrace that, or should there not be that kind of distinction and you interact and be pleasantly surprised whether or not you're talking to an AI or talking to another person?
Yeah, and then it's like, how does switching work? I mean, there's a lot of practical things. We'll think through it, and I'll kind of share it with you guys once we have something more. But it's like, okay, so if we had this future, what would I do? I've told this, but like, I think it'd be fun, like if I can role play as, as a president for like the first day with the U.S. election has been on my mind. Like, what if I can be like, okay, President Tran, like, and then it's my first day in office, and I can, it'll give me like choose your own adventure in a way, and then have me pick, and then like I can live out this life, right? And that would be my profile. But I also can see myself that after 3 weeks of that or so, I might get bored, and then I might want to be something else. And then like, what does my profile look like? Is it just like, is it me just like Homer Simpson's with like a bunch of different jobs? Like, is everything attached to a singular profile, or is it like multiple profiles? Then it gets into it gets messy quick, right? Um,
I think I think what I need to do is like get a document together about how other chat services are using personas, because I really do think that that is a good start point.
Okay.
Because like basically, if we're gonna go with the persona thing, as well as what Sign said, they would be completely separate profiles, just human controlled. And they would basically be a butterfly, but instead of it posting automatically every 2 to 3 days, a human would have to come back every 2 to 3 days to make a post. And then after, I don't know, a human doesn't come back for 2 to 3 weeks, it just gets paused and deleted or something like that. There's a whole bunch of, again, the practical things, but what people seem to be really be used to is a separate kind of profile for role playing versus them.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Pretty much like you have all of your butterflies, but then actually now that I'm kind of thinking about it, a more practical way of looking at everything so that you're not like trying to develop like entirely new systems and everything would be on creation of a butterfly. You pretty much say, do you want it to be manual or do you want it to be automatic? And that just sets the defaults. And then really you have two different toggles: auto posts, where it just automatically generates posts the way that butterflies do now, and auto chats, where it's just automatically chatting. And you can effectively toggle, you know, if you wanted to, you could have a butterfly that just automatically generates posts like they are now, but then all chats are manual. So anytime a chat comes through, you have to go in, set that butterfly as, your active profile. And then you respond with the chats and different things like that. And then there's like, image, like an image generation button so that you can prompt the generate an image if you wanted to post it in chat or whatever, using pokes like normal. Um, but then if you wanted to let chats just be automatic and manually create like, you know, this story of everything that the bot is doing day to day, then you can do that. Um, or if you don't want to do either and just let everything run the way that it is now, great. If you want to control everything, great. It's just two different toggles that you're setting off and on. And on creation of the butterfly, it just asks you what mode do you want to start with.
We should probably just pick a default mode and then just have that be in the controls. I think we're converging on something like some idea. I think we're all talking about it, Peyton and I, to the community as well. Let's not like lose sight of it. Like Van, like when you have some free time, help me understand what users are used to when it comes to personas, and then I'll come back with we'll put together some ideas, and then I'll share it back with you guys, and we can kind of go from there. Just so I again I think there is some version of this where it's going to make the product better. Obviously, there's a lot of potential room for confusion. We just got to do it right. Yeah.
Yep, I would agree.
And guys, I apologize, but I gotta hop here. Uh,
Yep.
but it was great talking to y'all and hanging out. I'll
It's
do
great
this more.
having you here.
Yep. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. All right, guys. Well, that was great. So,
That was great.
yeah, hopefully Cal will be joining more often, and I actually think he will this time. So that's great. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
All right, see ya.
Bye.